I forgot to add me to the stage, y'all. Hey, what's going on? And welcome back to After the Snap. I am Tasha. We are going to be discussing today Evil season, what is it, season 4, episode 3, How to Slaughter a Pig. How did y'all feel about this episode? Because let me tell you, when moving into the episode itself is fantastic. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. It's a fantastic episode. Um, how did I feel moving into it? A lot of it I kind of expected with Kristen, her stuff. I expected stuff to go down with her. I expected them to figure out a way to draw her into this baby's life. And even though that is an intriguing part of the show, another intriguing part of the show is David Acosta. Now that we know that he can remote view, we are also learning that he is able to literally step into the body of the person who is on the scene where whatever is happening. So he steps into the body of the individual who is like this general who is slaughtering all of these Ethiopian uh, citizens and the members of the church and all of that. And that's an interesting set of events for David. And then we finally have Ben. And okay, so everybody's being honest in this episode, right? Let me jump over here and see who's saying what. Hey, Lysandra. Hey, March. Oink oink. So we know that David has been having some issues. I mean, not David, Ben. He's been having some issues as well. And he still is gambling on himself. Like he's going to go off by himself to go investigate the soil at this pig farm. It's like Ben is the smartest dummy in the whole world. He is a smart dummy. But all of that, all of these things are big questions, big question events in the episode. Some of them, kind of pay off, and in others, we are just along for the ride. Um, you like the conversation in the car, Marge? I did too. I liked it for two reasons. Reason number one, I like cranky David. Yeah, he's so cranky and he's acting so mean. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is just so human. Yes. But he's being mean to his friends and to strangers. Kristen is having a crisis of conscience where she made this promise to the Lord that she would take her children to mass every Sunday. And now she's backtracking on that because she feels like letting religion into her life is making her is taking away her power in some way, shape, or form. Because then you'll have to continuously believe that there is something supernatural when our inclination is to want to answer these questions ourselves, or at least my inclination would be, I need to answer these questions myself instead of trying to wait for some supreme being or some omnipotent person to come and give me all of my answers. So I like that. Hey, Justin, good to see you. Um, so, and I also like the fact that they all kind of came clean. It seemed like to me, David came the cleanest. David told the truth. Excuse me. Um, Ben and Kristen seem to tell the truth about what's going on in their life up to a point, and then they pull it on back. But okay. Let me see what else we had to discuss about this episode. The pigs themselves. What did y'all think as we were walking into this pig story? Look, because I know I made the I guess correlation that He confessed the gin, but did he tell everything, or did he confess up to a point? Because I could be reading it wrong. He could have told everything. I feel like he was holding something back. I feel like he was holding something back, and I learned that I felt like Kristen was holding back. I feel like David just laid it out there. Yeah. You learned about feedback. Yikes. Yeah, that was weird. All of it is weird. Let's just be real. Everything, let me go on to notes. Everything that happened in this episode, just weird. The timing of everything is kind of weird. I have to um yep, I got quiet, y'all. Because I forgot about this live stream for yesterday. This was supposed to happen yesterday, and I forgot. And I wasn't doing nothing. Did mind you, was not doing anything at all. And I ended up missing this conversation yesterday. So see, you like the episode overall, except for the trio of girls. So the trio of girls, the trio of God, the trio of God, I think they're calling themselves. They conduct these exorcisms, and a little bit, I understood, like her. I understood where they're coming from. Um, why does the Catholic Church have a monopoly on exorcisms? And they're saying, "Oh, we're doing the same thing that you're doing, so we're doing it under the authority of Jesus Christ." Now, they obviously, or is it obvious? Because I could be reading it wrong. Now, y'all tell me, is it obvious that they were successful in getting these demons out? It's just what they did with them when they cast the demons out of the farmer's, or the pig farmer's son. When they cast the pigs, the demons out into the swine. In the Bible, the swine ran and jumped off, drowned themselves in water, but there is no water for them to drown themselves in. So, did they really exorcise some demons? Is this real? Is this a real example of a supernatural event? They did an exorcism on the farmer's son. They cast the demons into the swine. The swine had nowhere to go. So now you just got a bunch of possessed pigs out here, and they're selling the pigs for food. So people who eat this food, now they're becoming possessed. Does this, or or is Ben's explanation truly the best explanation? I got a question. See, I think so too. Well, at least David. Okay, so David believes that those ladies, those young ladies, cast the demons into the pigs. The pigs had nowhere to go, so they they lived with the demons in them, and now people are eating demon infested pig. That's at least the way I'm understanding it from David's perspective. From Ben's perspective, I thought he was trying to allude to there's something wrong with the soil, and this is where the pigs live and play and eat. So if it's something wrong with the soil, it's going to be something wrong with the pigs eventually, and then that will get passed on to human beings. That's the way I thought Ben looked at it, even though Ben saw the big old possessed pig, because that pig, well, that wasn't normal. That big ass pig with that wasn't normal, y'all. So That pig had to be possessed, right? It had to be. So, but I'm glad I'm not the only person who looked at it that way. That David seemed to believe that they cast, and all of the kind of double entendres where he was like, "You don't do such and such, Jesus," and Jesus. Okay, so they call upon the name of Jesus in one way. He's calling upon it in vain in another. I thought that was a good looking or a good, I guess, difference between the way that David sees religion, and there's no way to the Father but through the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And even these young ladies, like, all the authority I need is Jesus. I don't need the Holy Spirit, and I don't need the Father. It was just their different ways of looking at through denominations, because their denomination is different than, of course, David's. Also, Ben explains that when pigs are fed dead pigs, they develop a taste for meat. Yeah, that cannibal type aspect of it. And yeah, they did say that. So they feed the dead pigs. That makes them have a taste for meat, which explains why the pigs went and lost their mind when Kristen's blood dropped on the ground. Okay, so they develop a taste for meat. Does that still mean that they're not possessed? Because I'm confused now. I know they're cannibals because they made them cannibals, but now does it mean that the answer is that they're just cannibal pigs? They're not possessed. I don't know. Especially since we are seeing so much going on with David that cannot be explained. We can't talk our way out of what's going on with David. We can't really talk our way out of the shit that we've seen at um work for Cheryl and work for Leland. Um that pig, that big one. Yes. That pig had to be demonized. There is no way that was just a regular pig who just was eating other pigs. It's something wrong with that pig. He was huge and pretty aggressive. Um, okay, so we did talked about these pigs, and I'm not gonna stick around for forever and ever. We're gonna hit the highs. What did we think of Cheryl trying to have this rah rah girl power meeting in her miniature office? What do we think of that? Do we think Cheryl is telling the truth when she says that, look, the only reason that I am involved in this is because I want sweet revenge on Leland for what he's doing to my daughter and her family? Are we buying that from Cheryl? Because I'm not. For some reason, I still believe that there's more. There, and I always do this. Everybody who's been around me for a while, y'all know I pick somebody, I make them a villain, and they a villain until we find out otherwise. I'm talking about them like they a villain, and that is how I feel about Cheryl. Something is wrong. They did something to her. They scrambled her brain or something. She, to me, is thoroughly on the side of evil, but she's mad that she has to answer to the men in this evil corporation. I could be wrong. You guys talked me out of it. A literal glass ceiling. I was telling my friend that, I'm like, we talk about women breaking the glass ceiling. The only way she's getting out of that office is if she literally breaks the glass ceiling. So I thought it was really, really a good metaphor, visual metaphor. And you agree about Cheryl? Yeah, something ain't right. What do we think about Andy? We didn't see an awful lot of him this episode, but we saw him. Was he sleeping under the bed? We see him. He's struggling. He's having real problems, and I'm feeling sorry for Andy, because out of all the people involved in this, he has not asked to be part of any of this. He is he's Kristen's husband, so that makes him involved with her work. Then he's Cheryl's son-in-law, that makes him involved. Then he's these kids' father, that makes him involved in that. But I'm like, this is the one person who is truly an innocent, just truly innocent victim of what's happening to him. And I really feel sorry for him. He says he feels trapped, and he is trapped. He is trapped. And I really, really empathize with Andy. And now we find out that Kristen wants him to start seeing Dr. Boggs. Now, pardon me if I'm wrong, but is it a conflict of interest for a therapist to see a husband and wife if they're not in therapy together? So if they are both his patient, doesn't that present a conflict of interest? And wouldn't Kristen know that? But besides the fact that that's a conflict of interest in my mind, Kristen is planning to bring Andy to Dr. Boggs. And we know Dr. Boggs is batshit nuts too, as far as the shit that he's been through with Leland and the demons and the such. And he's even got the demon assistant working for him. So I really feel sorry for Andy, because I feel like they are about to put him through some ish. If his mind wasn't already in a blender, they are going to mush it up even more. I feel bad for him. Justice says, I agree. I believe the pigs had the evil in them. I also think Cheryl has something suspect going on. It's something going on. And I'm not 100% sure what you would think so about Marge. If you elaborate just a little bit. So yeah, I believe that Cheryl for sure. And I don't know if she's attached. Do you think she's attached to this baby because the baby is a part of her daughter? Because we got to talk about the baby at, at some point. And oh, Nurse Block showing back up. How about that for a surprise? I did not expect to see Nurse Block again. It was when I heard the shoes, I was like, wait a minute. And sure enough, it's Nurse Block. She's back in this thing. I think so too, Marge. It should be. It should be, because the exact same thing could happen. Because remember how Leland got all the scoop on Kristen in the first place is by going through Dr. Boggs' records. So now we're in the same position where all of this information that is Kristen's notes from her therapy sessions and all the information that's notes from Andy's therapy sessions will be available to either one of these people and or Leland, which is the last thing we want, is Leland to get his hands on any other information about Kristen and Andy and their situation. Nurse Block with them squeaky shoes. She would be the nurse that is assigned to Leslie. And we learned that Leslie is the surrogate for Kristen's egg. So now Leslie, her water breaks in this little meeting that they were having with Cheryl, all the ladies, which I don't know why Cheryl trusts these ladies. I don't know why she thinks that these ladies will not betray her to Leland and all the men upstairs, especially if they know, or these women probably believe that their way to the top is by sacrificing somebody else, and Cheryl would be a sacrifice to them. They will move up. They'll get their own scaled down office with a glass ceiling if they turn Cheryl in. I could be wrong. They could be girl power. We could all be sticking together. I don't know. What was I expecting the baby to look like? That baby in the remember that baby that David's father's second wife, or his David's father was in that polyamorous relationship, and David's father's one of his wives had a baby, and that baby was a demon. I expected the baby to come out looking like that, but the baby came out cute and normal and big, big. And I know it's TV. The baby is not going to be a newborn. It's not going to come out with all the stuff all over him. And we know that the baby going to come out clean, and he going to come out about 2 or 3 years old. And this baby looked like he was like at least 6 months. He was so chunky and cute with the prettiest eyelashes that I think I have ever seen on a little baby. We have named the baby Timothy, which is Kristen's father's name. So now this baby is named after his granddaddy. But okay, before we get there, because I want to know what you think about how we get there. Oh, Marge said she was expecting that baby to be a mess, and I was too. I was ready. I was ready. But okay, we're getting there. The water breaks. Cheryl takes the young lady to the hospital that is going to be delivering the baby. The baby, and then as she's laying there and she's being sedated, she's heavily sedated while she's going through labor, which I always, that just slows labor down. It's been a long ass time since I've had a baby, but I would think that being under that many different depressants would just slow labor down and just drag this out. But not in this case. She had that baby pretty much that night. But okay. She she's heavily sedated, but she overhears Nurse Block and Leland having a discussion about getting rid of the mother so that they can grind her up and feed her to the baby. And Leslie is like, look, I said I would give birth to the Antichrist. I did not say that I was going to sign off on being ground up for food. And Leland is like, oh, no. We weren't talking about you. We were talking about his biological mother, which biological mother would be Kristen. So they needed to find a way to get Kristen involved with this baby, involved with the life, kind of like the pigs. I'm missing something. And maybe I'm talking too much and ain't looking at them, because as soon as I see the comment show up, if I say something, then I probably know what we were talking about, but I'm a little bit lost. Well, okay, so now the baby is born, or the girl is in labor, and now she's afraid because she's like, these people go kill me. Leland tells her, reassures her that we're not going to kill you. We want to kill the biological mother. And then cut to Kristen getting a phone call. In fact, back-to-back phone calls from unknown number. What do we think is happening here? Do we think Leslie is really going to Kristen for help? Or do we think Leland has put her up to this thing? I honestly believe that Leland put her up to it. I believe that she knew how to play to Kristen's motherly instincts and her biological sensibilities, where she would say, I'm in danger, therefore your baby that I'm carrying is in danger, and that Kristen would jump into action. And she wasn't wrong. Kristen did jump into action. The first thing she did was, look, I'm going to do the one thing that is just the blanket human thing to do. If you are hurt and you need help, I'm going to take you to the hospital. And I'm going to wait till you get admitted into the hospital before I leave. I think that is what Kristen's plan was. But they pulled her in a little bit more every single time, because Leslie mentioned Nurse Block. That had already set off alarm bells in Kristen's head. Then she talked about how she needed her reassurance. She didn't want Kristen to leave her. So now Kristen has gone from being this good Samaritan who's just taking this girl to the hospital to literally being in the delivery room when the Antichrist is this baby, Timothy. I'm not going to call him the Antichrist because then we have to go into nature or nurture. And I'll get to that. But okay, so baby is born, Timothy is born. Kristen doesn't want to hold Timothy. Kristen doesn't want to feed Timothy. Kristen doesn't want to be she doesn't want to get attached to this baby, but yet they keep doing little things. Leslie is acting super naive about motherhood, and it's forcing Kristen to do the things that she did when she experienced motherhood herself with her babies. I don't think that's by accident. That's what Leland wanted, and now Leland has that. And even if you look at like the thumbnail, that picture that I used for my thumbnail, Kristen is even standing there, sitting there with the bottle, and the look on her face is like, how the hell did I get here? Why am I doing this? Even though she eventually started cooing and kind of singing and smiling at the baby, she didn't mean to be there. This is not something that she wanted. Yes, her motherly instincts are strong. That baby is calling her. And how can you say no to a baby? It still breaks my heart with Ashton and Amira when they do their little crying and whining. I'm wound around their fingers. I just want to make sure that everything is okay for this baby. And that's the way Kristen seems to be. Do we think that's on purpose? Do we think that Leland put Leslie up to doing this? Because I do. I got a feeling that when they're released from the hospital, Kristen is going to invite them to come stay with her. I just feel like that. We got a couple days before we got till tomorrow, until we have the true answer. I feel like Kristen is going to take that baby home with her. And if she didn't have enough demons in her house before, you're adding one more. Marge is saying the same thing, that she thinks that baby is going to end up with Kristen. And I still believe Leslie is going to get killed. That's a whole different story for a whole different day. But I do believe that they're going to do something to Leslie too. I was reading an article about evil, if I can find it, because it did have some questions. Justin answers that. He said, plus the Antichrist. Yeah, that's the plus one. The plus one is the Antichrist. Yep. Let's see. Okay, yeah, it has some questions that we want to see answered in this season, and we know we're going to get answers probably about Leland, right? We know we're going to get answers about the 60, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to get answers about the baby, more about this baby. But then we still got questions that had been posed in seasons prior that we need some closure on as well. Now we got a lot of episodes left. We're not even close to being done because we got 14, I think, episodes of this season, or they're splitting it in seasons. Maybe the baby will eat Leland. That'll serve him right. But Leland would probably be okay with that as long as it's the Antichrist doing it. Because, okay, nature versus nurture. That baby goes home with Kristen. Now, we know the house is full of demons, but I got a feeling Sister Andrea can take care of all of that, right? We know the house is overrun with demons, the way some houses are overrun with roaches and mice, and that house is overrun with demons. But we know an exterminator, Sister Andrea, and she may even enlist the assistance of a young person of God who would be what's the daughter's name? The one that wants to be the nun. Can never think of their names. But I believe that that baby comes to that house, it has a chance to beat being the Antichrist because nature versus nurture. Now, they're raising this child, or Leland and them spawned the child in order to create the Antichrist. But if, yeah, Lynn, that's her name, that's that child's name. But if the baby is raised under a different influence, will that change the trajectory of this baby's life? That is where I think it could go. It doesn't have to go there. That is just something that would be interested to me. The child's name, the one that wants to be a nun, is Lynn. That's what Marge was telling us. Okay, so we talked about Cheryl. What's going on with her? What happened to her? That's a question that we kind of need an answer to. And in that, with Cheryl, there's also the answer of Andy. So Cheryl and Andy are two sides almost of the same coin. I want to know what's going on with them. I really want Andy to be okay. I'm not as worried about Cheryl. Then that one daughter that had the tail, her name was Lexus. What happened to her tail? Does anybody remember? Especially Justin, because you're watching, or you have watched it the most recent. From I haven't watched it again since that season episode played. I haven't watched it again. So my question is, was the tail real on Lexi? And if it was, does that mean that Lexus is evil? Does she have a bad gene? And if she has a bad gene, does that mean her brother Timothy would have a bad gene as well? Following me? Marge said, I don't remember the tail, but I do remember her very sharp teeth. I'm gonna I hate these freaking websites with all of these different things. I'm gonna try to open it so you can see this tail. Grace assured Kristen that if Lexus is raised in love, she'll be okay. That is very interesting to remember because, yeah, that's what I want. But remember, she had that tail. And I don't remember what happened to her. But that is a good point because it also means that it could also mean the same for baby Timothy. Yeah, it could be the same thing for him. Okay, so then that means that if that is what Grace said is correct, then Lexi is probably not evil. Lexi is fine. And if Lexi is fine, it makes me think Timothy will be fine. But we can't make that leap just yet. Remember that time when Ben was at that cult house and he left the cult house completely covered in blood? What are we gonna get more answers or to that? Oh gosh. Because I want to know. Then of course, Mr. or Dr. Boggs' book. We talked about that a little bit earlier. What I want to know, like, what the hell happened? Now it looks like Dr. Boggs is like trying to put all of that behind him, but they're not about to allow that to happen. Not when you got a little demon person working for you, Dr. Boggs. They're not going to let you put all that stuff behind you. So I wonder what's going to happen next. It's been a while since we had seen him, and I was wondering if he was going to show up, and he did. And then, is the baby really the Antichrist? I don't think the baby is the Antichrist. I think the baby is going to be try to be shaped by the 60 and Leland and all of them to be the Antichrist. They're trying to usher in this this millennial baby. I don't know if you call it millennial. They want that baby to be the Antichrist, but just because they want it doesn't mean that it has to be. I think the baby has a chance. I also think that the that Grace is going to show up. I really hope so. I liked the Grace character. And then I also like what she stands for, because she stands for a little bit of prophetic hope in all of this. And I want to see Grace again. We've seen Nurse Block. I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of people, because we are closing out, a series. So we may see the father again. We may see, the baby over there, that baby. We may see him. We may see. It's a lot of people who could show up, and I'm here for seeing these people. Uh, and Sister Andrea, I just want to see her get let loose and let her do her thing. Let her do her thing. Sister Andrea, to me, is like Captain Marvel in Avengers Endgame. When she came, she shut things down because she's overpowered, and she knew exactly what to do at that moment to make an impact. And that's in Captain Marvel in Avengers Endgame. I believe that Sister Andrea can have a moment like that. I love Sister Andrea too. Love her. That character I need to see more of. I don't like. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about the little. Is his name Father Ignatius? The little father, little cute, funny one. It's something about him. And even though it is a patriarchal religion, as far as Catholicism goes, I think that he was too dismissive of Andrea that one day, talking about, come on in here and mop the floor, let this sister mop the floor, whatever he said. Sister Andrea is a beast, darling. And we do not reduce her to only mopping floors. She is a beast. And I can't wait for her to get unleashed in whatever is going on here. They have to bring in Sister Andrea. Justice says she should be okay from what I recall, but with this show, anything is possible. I think the baby is the Antichrist, but there's going to be a twist to it. There's always a twist in the end. That's some Doctor Who stuff. And if you're into Doctor Who, we'll be discussing some spoiler stuff as far as theories for Doctor Who in about 30 minutes. Gosh, time went by fast. And then, okay, are we gonna? Yes, Leland can't do nothing with Andrea. She can see right through him. That's what I love about her. She does not look imposing, but Sister Andrea is like, she is the eyes and the ears of this entire situation. She can see through a window. The eyes are the window of the soul. She can see exactly what's going on. Sister Andrea is a beast. Justin and Marge are both agreeing. I do want to see her handle Leland. Give her a shovel. Yep. Bap, bap. I love Sister Andrea, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next, as far as evil is concerned. But I'm so scared. In the meantime, because things happen before things get settled here, and I haven't forgotten about the particle accelerator. I haven't forgotten about that. I haven't forgotten about the dog, and of course, this one was the pig. Now, what is tomorrow? There's always a twist. Yeah, I'm trying to find what the name of tomorrow's episode is. I thought I had it right here. I'm trying to see if anybody put it in there before I can find it. This computer is acting real slow. It's acting real slow, and it's gonna give up eventually. um, Episode 4, how to build a coffin. Andy, it says yours says how to grieve. And then over here it says how to build a coffin. So I remember seeing how to grieve. So I'm gonna say that it was how to grieve because that's the way I remembered it before too. And now it says how to build a coffin. I don't know if they're changing the name of the episode or if this was a mistake. But when I'm reading the synopsis, it starts off with Andy and a tear almost fell out of my eye because that means um that I've been talking about we need to know what's going on with Andy, and now we got an Andy episode. Andy is pushed to deadly measures as the team investigates a speech demon. So I will be awake. You looked at Wikipedia, and I looked at this thing called Simple. Yeah, so I think maybe I'll trust Wikipedia because I remember seeing how to grieve earlier, like weeks ago. Yeah. But okay, so Andy is pushed to deadly measures as the team investigates a speech demon. So not only is the title different, the synopsis has a mention of Andy, which tells us, oh Lord, we're gonna get some answers with Andy. But it also has a picture, and the picture is of Sister Andrea, which that I hope that means that we're going to see. Hey there, discussing Star Trek. I don't mean discuss Trek. I don't know which one of my pod brothers this is, so I don't want to say no names. Oh, well, Marge said a name. She said, "Hey, Clarence." I don't know if it's Clarence or if it's Kyle, because Kyle does come around for the Doctor Who stuff, and it makes me happy. Um. So yeah, what was I going to say now? The team investigates a speech demon. I was going to show you guys the picture. I forgot. Hey, okay, Clarence. Oh gosh. I'm going to share this so you can see this picture. We got a picture of Sister Andrea. So hopefully that means we're going to see her in the next episode. And she starts putting a little bit of an end to some of the foolishness that's going on, because Sister Andrea, she don't have time for your foolishness. She has no time for it. She got a job to do, and she's trying to keep these demons out the church and out these people's house. And she's going to obviously attack something. So I can't wait to see how this goes with Sister Andrea. This is at the church, directory of the church, whatever. Yeah, there's a priest in the background. Maybe I'll use this for the thumbnail picture so that we can examine it a little bit deeper when we do uh when we do the next live stream, as we continue to try to figure out what the hell is going on with evil. It's a lot going on. She is a demon slayer, and she really looks like she is in action. Remember, I was just talking Captain Marvel in Avengers Endgame. This is Sister Andrea. So we got to figure out what's going on with the devil, baby. We got to figure out what's going on with Dr. Boggs, and is he going to manipulate Andy any further? Then that man's mind is mush right now, and I really, really don't want to see him go through anything else. But it looks like Andy must suffer. It looks like Andy must die. I hope he doesn't die, but it says he's pushed to deadly measure. So he's either going to die or he's going to kill someone, right? Oh gosh, I'm very excited to see. Oh, as far as this episode, this season of Evil has been no less than a 4.75. The entire season. These first 3 episodes have been very strong to me, as far as the story and the layout that we have become familiar with Evil for delivering. They have delivered on all cylinders. Now, we are pushing forward a lot more questions because I asked some questions that we can go way back on, and then we still have questions that are being presented to us this season. I know this season is cut into two parts. The first 10 episodes is one part. I think the last 4 or 5 or however many episodes after that is the second part. Hopefully, the second part is just all answers. And these first 10 episodes give us more of what we love about evil. And then the last 4 episodes just hit us with the answers. I'm excited to see where we go. Oh, Justin got something before he forgets. Love the background of fire reminds me of the movie Ninth Gate. Well, I'm glad you like it. I think it fits into the evil aesthetic that we got going on. Even though I shouldn't even be playing like this. I was born and raised in church, and even though a lot of those beliefs seem mythical to me now, not all of them, but a lot of them. And hell is one of the things that seems mythical to me now. But then I do this and put myself in hell. Got flyers and shit flaming up all around me. So yeah, it's like a fight between the way you were raised and the knowledge you've gained along the way, but yeah, so I'm enjoying it. I know. Oh, oh no. I know that you guys obviously are enjoying it. We are all hanging out here and watching this together. Hopefully you guys will join me again. Now, before we leave out of here today, if you've not yet done so, please hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you've not yet done so, because I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers, and the only way I'm getting there is if I continue to gain subscribers. I'm about 130, 140 away, 130, 140 away from 2,000. And I would like to get there soon. So if you guys want to help me, share this with somebody else is watching evil, so they could come on back and be part of this discussion. And then you can also like and subscribe and all of those things. I'd appreciate it. Said Nine Gates was a movie about the devil. So Evil is a pretty great show, and the movie Nine Gates is about the devil. The devil. So yeah, y'all. I'm gonna take a little break before we start our Doctor Who theory stream. So if you guys have not planned on doing that, come on back and watch the Doctor Who stream with us while we try to figure out, before the episode comes on, exactly what the heck is going on this season. Oh, thank you, Marge. Thanks for being here. And Justin and Lysandra and Clarence. Thank you. And then whoever else, because I know there's other people around, because I can see we got at least one person over on Twitch, and we got a couple other people watching from different platforms. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you have done all the things. I'm coming back at, I believe it was 6:15. I don't remember. Don't get me the line. I think it was 6:15 to do what's his name? To do Doctor Who, our theory session. Yeah, it says it's 6:20. So I'm gonna go now and take a sip of juice and do all my things before we start Doctor Who. And I will see you guys in a little bit. Thank you for being here. Peace.